Hey, what's up, you guys? This is AJ coming to you once again from the Thwip side, and it's been way too long since we've talked about Spawn on the channel. Originally, I had hoped to be sharing some reviews with you about the new Spawn's Universe figures, but sadly, first Amazon pushed back, then canceled my pre-order for Soul Crusher, and then a couple weeks later, pushed back and then canceled my pre-orders for Spawn and Cygor. I'm not sure what's up with that. I have heard reports that other people have had the same thing happen. Let me know if it's happened to you or if you know why. I'm thinking it has something to do with the state of the world, where shipping is nuts and the ports are congested. I myself deal with that in my day job, so I'm thinking it's that. But if anybody else has heard something different, please let me know. So putting aside my ability to get my hands on some new Spawn plastic, there's still plenty to talk about. And tonight I just wanted to take a look at the three newest comics that make up Spawn's universe, besides the original run, of course, and just share with you my thoughts on them. And just to here to help me is the Target exclusive Gunslinger Spawn, my custom Spawn on the MK11 body, and the Clown. And I will say, in my review of the Clown, I was down on him a bit because of the articulation. That soon got pointed out that I missed some spots, or I think it was he had more range than I originally thought. He was just really stuck. And the major gripe was the big hole in the back when you don't have his big guns on him attached on the back. But on the shelf looking like that, he does look awesome. I've warmed up to him. I don't see the hole, so as an apology to the fellow, I've got him here. I wanted to share that I was able to pick up Spawn Compendium Volume 2. It covers issues 51 to 100 of course, the mainline Spawn comic. And I love these compendiums because, as I've said, I'm way behind in my Spawn, and this is a great way for me to catch up, as I also tried to collect the whole run of the mainline Spawn, but this way I can catch up quicker. I did read that their plan is to have enough compendiums to cover up to issue 300, which is great because although I have been on board since issue 300, as I try to catch up, I have not read those issues yet. So sometimes in the new books, it'll say, I think there's one example, something happened, you get the little box, Spawn 326 or something. I think there's one for Spawn 301 in one of the books. But thankfully, it didn't make it so I didn't know what was going on in these three books, but it has made me want to catch up even quicker. And I may just jump on, and as I'm catching up with the past, jump on and read 300 and up from there, so I'm current. First off, because there's only one issue, I wanted to talk about Scorched #1, written by Sean Lewis with help from Todd, and art by Steven Segovia and Paulo Segura. Hopefully I didn't butcher those names too much. And my thoughts on this one, I think the art is really good, as are all these books. We'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, I really enjoyed the art on this one, and I think it was a decent start, if not super thrilling. It did its job of introducing and getting the team together, put them in a situation that we hope they can get out of by the end. The thing about that, I'm not trying to sound down on the book, and I will, of course, I want to give it some issues to catch its ground, but just to me, team books, what makes a team like interesting a lot of time are having a team, especially in like superhero type, comics, of course. The team is like, their powers are different, and it helps, single them out as individuals, and then you see how they work together. Here, they're pretty much all Spawns except for Redeemer, so they pretty much have very close power sets. I know there are a few differences. So for me, for this book to work, is they're really going to have to keep the stories interesting and also flesh out the characters' personalities and give each character, a personality, and really have the personalities in their interactions with each other stand out, or it will become bland really quickly. I'm not saying that is now, but that's my fear, that the appeal of the team won't last if not done correctly, I think. So they really have to focus, I think, on characterization and give us some good stories. And I'm really hoping so, because the more Spawn books in the universe, I think the better. I mean, I'd love to see him grow more characters. I was kind of wishing Haunt was in a Scorched team, just because he's a little different, and I think it's interesting how he talks to his brother. I don't know a lot about Haunt, but my introduction to him was actually in Spawn's universe. But I just thought, hey, really cool, this character. I'd like to know more about him. He talks to his dead brother, and I was really hoping he was in this on the Scorched team. So time will tell on this one, but like I said, fantastic art, cover's great as always. I always say Spawn has like the best covers around. Everyone, I think, is fantastic. I don't think I've ever seen a Spawn cover that I didn't like. Next, we have Gunslinger Spawn, written by Todd and art by Brett Booth, which I will say right now, Brett Booth is quickly becoming one of my favorite artists. This book, every issue, looks incredible. I just love his artwork. It really stands out to me. It almost has like a 90s vibe to me, the way he draws like faces and things. Like, so that's the era where the late 80s, early 90s is where I really hit my stride getting into comics when they were available. Speaking of available, I know Gunslinger Spawn is a fan favorite and Todd is really high on him, but I never knew anything about the character because by the time he rolled around in the Spawn comics, unfortunately where I live, I couldn't get my hands on any comics. The one place we had left for the longest time was a bookstore, and that had closed by the time Gunslinger came around. But I was excited for this. Todd seemed really excited when he was leading up to Gunslinger getting his own comic, and it got me excited, especially because it was the launch of Spawn's universe. It was a new Spawn title, so I definitely was excited for this one. It took me a couple of issues to really, really super get into it. I think that happens to me a lot with a lot of new characters that I'm introduced to, or new comic runs in general. But yeah, with each issue, I get more and more invested. I'm really liking the story so far, and the artwork, again, knocks it out of the park. And of course, the covers. Beautiful covers. I really love that cover. This one, all of them, and they have different vibes going through. Just really cool. And then, of course, in this issue, I also like how these are like cardstock covers. I just really dig the cardstock covers. Of course, in this issue, we get the clown and baby clowns. It's drawn beautifully. They look really cool. Now, I do hear, and I kind of agree, it seems like it might be a little bit of a ripoff of the Batman Who Laughs and his Crow Robins, but I don't care. I just think that's really cool. Baby clowns with clowns are cool, and I'm hoping for a figure announcement, as long as they're not as pain in the ass to get as the Crow Robins. I was only able to pick up one variant. I could never pick up another one. But yeah, really loving Gunslinger Spawn. I love the humor because, of course, he's out of time. And one of my favorite parts is when he discovers a toilet and he's totally freaked out that people go to the bathroom inside their house. I really did laugh out loud to that one. It was just a great moment. And like I said, the more I read, the more I get invested in this character, and I'm eagerly awaiting the next issue. And last but not least, we have King Spawn, written by Sean Lewis, again with help from Todd. and art by Javier Fernandez. Once again, more fantastic art. And speaking of the art, I said I keep talking about the art as we got farther in the video. I remember when Todd was preparing to launch these new titles, he said that he was like gathering like incredible talent to launch these series, and he didn't disappoint. He sure did. All these artists are fantastic. I know I said Brett Booth really stood out, but all of them really are fantastic, and I love the art in this book. I was hoping that King Spawn would be a good jumping on point for current Spawn comics while I catch up, and it has been. I haven't had to really worry about not knowing what was going on in the story. I love the story. Where I said Gunslinger Spawn and a lot of comics in general take a few issues for me to get into or decide that they're not for me, King Spawn got me right from the get-go, and I've absolutely loved it. The few times that were mentioned, see a Spawn regular current run of Spawn issue hasn't made me felt I can't speak, felt lost in the story at all, and I can just keep running with it. And this is really cool. The stories about Spawn hunting down and finding out the secrets behind the terrorist group Psalms 137, and it's a great story. And again, I'll say it again, awesome covers. There's issue 2. I've read 1 through 6 so far, and for some reason, of all the crazy stylistic covers they have, this cover I really love. I mean, I love them all, of course, but that's just a really cool cover. I think it's the simplicity to me that really stands out, and so much so that I had to get another copy. I do have several copies of variant covers of issues 1 and 2, but I had to get another copy of 3. I don't know what it is, but I just absolutely love this simplistic cover. It's just a great cover. So there's 3. This cover is okay. I don't hate it, and I don't think it's terrible, but, and like I just said before, that there's really not a bad Spawn cover, and this isn't. It's just not one of my favorite. This isn't a bad cover. It's just not one of my favorites. And then we go back to this. I know some people didn't like this cover. I think it's pretty cool. This one, not terrible. Definitely on my lower end of best list of best Spawn covers. But, you know, not everyone can be incredible, I guess. So yeah, really, if you were to pick up a Spawn title and you could only pick up one outside the main series, I would definitely recommend King Spawn. I'm really, really loving this series, and I just wish they'd come out quicker. Not that they're late or anything, but that's how much I read the latest issue, and I immediately want to read the next issue. So that'll about do it for this very, very overdue SPAWNAPLOOZA. Hopefully next time we'll have some new plastic in our hands. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long to actually get them available. Hoping at least some of you are able to get your hands on them already. When I get my hands on them, I will be doing reviews. I'll show them maybe in a SPAWNAPLOOZA, and then do the reviews definitely. Super excited. The new wave of figures look incredible. And that'll about wrap things up this time. So thanks for watching. Drop me a comment. Tell me what you think about the new Spawn's Universe comics. Have you been able to get your hands on the new figures? And please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and whipping that notification bell. And I will catch you guys all right back here on the Thwip side. Later.